Let's talk about Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos. What a successful season this was for Bo Nix and the Broncos. Yes, they lost against the Buffalo Bills, and I can touch on that game, but I want to talk about the positives with this organization first. For the first time in a very long time, the Denver Broncos may have a franchise quarterback on their hands. I'm not going to come on here and say that Bo Nix is going to be the best quarterback in the league for the next 5 to 10 years. But what this kid has done in his rookie season has been spectacular. 29 passing touchdowns. That was the sixth most this season to 12 interceptions. The interceptions are high, but at the same time, he's a rookie. The Denver Broncos have not looked this good in quite some time. The last time that they had a winning record was in 2016. And the last time that they went out there and made the NFL playoffs until now was in 2015. And that was with Peyton Manning. And that's when they won the Super Bowl against the Carolina Panthers. And shout out to that defense for the Denver Broncos. The Broncos defense since 2015, they have always been good. They've always been able to go out there and hope they're in the bargain. Even this season. I know in today's game against Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, they had a tough day. But when I look at this defense, they're going to be good long term with Vance Joseph and the pieces that they have on the back end, especially in that front seven. But I really want to just talk about Bo Nix right now. This was a man that a lot of scouts came out and they questioned him because he transferred from Auburn. He went to Oregon. He went to a better college. He wanted to go out there and improve his game. And you have so many scouts saying that he's a system quarterback. Can he do it on the next level? Can he push the football deep down the field enough in Sean Payton's system? When you really think about Bo Nix, and some scouts did call him the next Drew Brees, I'm not going to do that. What he did in college, Sean Payton is doing right now. A bunch of throws behind the line of scrimmage, a bunch of slants, and some post routes down the field. And we saw Bo Nix develop every single month this season. Early on, it was ugly, and I had a lot of questions. When they went against the Seattle Seahawks, when they went against the Steelers, Bo Nix did not look good. The offensive line at that time was not playing very well, and they could not run the football. But as the season progressed, the offense looked better. And that's been the constant with Sean Payton. Earlier in the season, even with Russell Wilson, they didn't look too hot. Remember, just a couple of years ago, the Miami Dolphins scored 70 points on this defense. Look at them now. But when I look at Bo Nix, he has all the tools to be a top quarterback in this league for years to come. And if you're a Broncos fan, you should be excited. This is an organization that has had to deal with names like Teddy Bridgewater, Drew Lock, Brock Osweiler. No disrespect to any of those guys. And the same with Paxton Lynch. But none of those guys could work out long term with the Broncos. You have something in Bo Nix. He is an older player as a rookie, but that's okay. Bo Nix, if you can continue to build this team around him with Sean Payton, who has won a Super Bowl before with Drew Brees, it's been quite some time, but he's one of the most successful head coaches right now in this league, you're going to be okay, and you're going to always be a playoff contender in this division. Yes, you have the Kansas City Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. You have the Los Angeles Chargers with Justin Herbert and Coach Harbaugh. But you have a Hall of Fame coach of your own right, and it seems like you have a franchise quarterback. You need those two pieces to be able to compete in this division. And the Broncos, they have that. Even last year with Russell Wilson, they were solid enough to go out there and defeat the Kansas City Chiefs in one game with Russell Wilson. But Russell Wilson was not going to be their guy long term, so they moved off of Russ. And when you look at the moves that they have been able to make over the last few years, it's because of that contract that Russell Wilson signed with this organization a couple of years ago when they made that trade. You get that contract off the books. You can bring in some free agent wide receivers. You can bring in some more offensive linemen to come out and help out Bo Nix to make the run game more consistent. I like the wide receivers that they have, but they're not good enough right now. Now, Courtland Sutton, I like him a lot. Courtland Sutton is a true number one, in my opinion, especially in the red zone, but he's not going to always go out there and separate. He's not known for that. He's a 50-50 ball wide receiver. He can separate, but he's not that smooth route runner that you would look at in Sean Payton's system. When you look at Sean Payton throughout his career, he's always had a wide receiver or two that can go out there and run the full route tree. Courtland Sutton, he can do that, but it's not consistent enough. You have Devon, solid playmaker in short yardage situations. I look at Marvin Mims. There's something there with him and that speed. He had a beautiful play last year with Russell Wilson against the Miami Dolphins. It went for a major touchdown, and he had a great kick return in that matchup. He has blazing speed. He has track star type of speed. The problem with Marvin Mims is this. He's more so as a deep threat. He's not a do-it-all wide receiver. And I look at Troy Franklin, solid wide receiver. He's not able to go out there and give you that much on a consistent basis. You go out there in the first round. You bring in someone like a Tez Johnson, who Bo Nix is very close with. He was living with Tez Johnson for a point in time there when they were Oregon teammates. And they're very close on and off the field when he was with Oregon. If they could find a way to go out there and draft him in the first round, that would be phenomenal. That's the perfect fit. That's a guy that could come in, run every route that you want, be in Sean Payton's system, and he already has a connection with Bo Nix. Now, that may be unlikely because the Denver Broncos won't have a top pick in this year's draft class, which is a good thing because you made the playoffs and you get that experience underneath Bo Nix's belt, and the same with everyone else in this roster. But hopefully they can go out there and draft a wide receiver like Tez Johnson or get someone in free agency. But I think the wide receivers, they have to go out there, work on their catching, work on their separation. They'll be okay. The running back positions, you do have Estime. I think right now he's the best running back on this roster. Javonte Williams is not a bad player. I'm not trying to come on here and say that he's a terrible player. He's more so of a battering ram. He tore his ACL a couple of years ago. He hasn't been the same player since then, but he's a very good power back to have in short yardage situations. Right now, they have the running back by committee approach. And Jaleel, more times than not, will get majority of the carries, but I like Estime personally. But you can say that Jaleel is a better player than Estime. The offensive line, I think they're solid enough. They went out there and they made some key moves when they had Russell Wilson on the roster still. You just re-signed Garrett Bowles to a long-term extension a couple of months ago. He's a franchise left tackle in this league. You have Mike McGlinchey. He's very good at the right tackle position. You have Quinn Miners at the right guard position and Ben Powers at the left guard position. And every single week, they played better. So the offensive line, I like the pieces. And I like Cortland Sutton. Just go out there and bring in some more pieces around Bo Nix long term. Defensively, they're good. And when I look at the game today, it really came down to a couple plays. Bo Nix is delivering the football on the dime. Wide receivers couldn't come down with it. They're running the wrong routes. The wide receivers did not have a good day today. But when I look at this defense, they played well enough in the first half to win this game. And Vance Joseph is the former head coach with this organization. The way that he's coaching up this defense over the last few years, he's going to be a head coach once again in this league. I can promise you that. You have Patrick Surtain, who is phenomenal. He was the best cornerback this season. You can make the case that he's Defensive Player of the Year. He was amazing this year. You have Jaquan McMillan, very good cornerback in his own right. You have Riley Moss. We go back to that Cleveland Browns game. You see how essential it is to have Riley Moss on the field because Levi Wallace is not a good cornerback in this system when they run that zero blitz. But I like this secondary when they're fully healthy. I look at the front seven. You have Nick Bonito. Nick Bonito this season was third in sacks, 13 and a half, 2 forced fumbles, and an interception that went for a pick six. And you have Justin Schran, who is a very good interior linebacker. So when I look at the Denver Broncos defense, you have the right pieces on the back end and in the front seven. And I also want to give Jonathan Cooper a lot of love. 10 and a half sacks, 1 forced fumble. They have 2 bookend pass rushers that can come off the edge and give you a lot of problems. Something that you really need in this division. Because I'm going to say it again. You have Patrick Mahomes. You have Justin Herbert. In order to make those guys uncomfortable, you have to get to the quarterback and play very well on the back end. And this is what this defense is able to do. But I'm proud of the Denver Broncos. I know that it sucks to lose in the first round. It does. But not many people had this team making the NFL playoffs in year number 1 with Bo Nix. And myself in the past, I questioned Bo Nix, and I'm happy they made me eat my words. I want to see the Denver Broncos go back to being a Super Bowl contending team in the AFC. And they're just a couple of pieces away from doing that. But this season was a successful season for Sean Payton and the entire crew. And Sean Payton did get a bad reputation for what happened last year with Russell Wilson. When he was getting in his face, he was yelling at Russell Wilson, get the football out. That's basically what he was telling Russ. You're taking bad sacks. Just get the football out. And you'll have a couple of Denver Broncos and Sean Payton haters. They'll say, well, I didn't have the same energy for Bo Nix. He did. Earlier in the season, he was getting in Bo Nix's face. And Bo Nix got back in his. It's a weird relationship. Sean Payton is one of those old school coaches. He will get in your face. He's going to tell you when you messed up. But at the same time, he's going to put you on a pedestal when you go out there and you play great. That is what he did with Drew Brees. And I think that he's going to get the best out of Bo Nix long term. And I think the Denver Broncos overall, they will be okay. But let me know in the comment section below, how would you grade the Denver Broncos season this year in year number 1 with Bo Nix? And do you believe that Bo Nix is Rookie of the Year? If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, want each and every last one of you guys stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for the video, guys. God bless. Peace.